Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Order. We have a speaker on her feet, Mr O'Byrne.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My questions to the Minister for Planning. Minister, while we've been pushing for a housing-led recovery, you've been deceiving Tasmanians about the need for your damaging and unnecessary major projects legislation. You rushed through a sham consultation process at the height of the COVID shutdown. You used all your powers to quash thousands of Tasmanians from all walks of life who want fair planning laws to protect what makes this island special. The Heritage Protection Society slammed you for using the pandemic to impose this bill on the community when people were under severe pressure. Westbury residents against the prison know it demolishes normal assessment processes and hands major planning decisions to a hand-picked, unaccountable panel. Minister, your government has been pushing these planning changes since 2014 to deliver for your big development mates. There's nothing in this legislation that we need to kickstart a successful economic recovery. It's a recipe to sow community discord, which is the last thing our state needs in a coronavirus recovery. Will you listen to the outrage that's been expressed in the submissions made to you and walk away from this very divisive legislation?
No. Thank you. The Honourable Minister for Planning.
The Sunday Tasmanian, but
thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for her question. I refute the assertion she's made, the outrageous claim that we have rushed through consultation on this bill under the cover of a pandemic. Madam Speaker, at the end of her question, she pointed out that we've been consulting on this since 2014, Madam Speaker. Yes. We've just completed another 10 weeks of community consultation, doubled during the coronavirus emergency, Madam Speaker, and including an invitation for anybody who wanted one to have a one-on-one briefing with members of my department to answer any questions they have, Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, my question is,
you hate public meetings.
Madam Speaker, why wouldn't you
express their feelings?
Dr. Woodruff,
sorry, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, my question is, why wouldn't you want large, complex, important projects for Tasmania to be assessed under all relevant legislation by an independent panel of experts, Madam Speaker, including
Can I please remind everyone we are in Parliament. We are not in some pub where we're just shouting at each other.
We could be at the pub on Friday.
Well, yes, save it for Friday.
Madam Speaker, why wouldn't you want these assessments to be conducted at arm's length from government by a panel appointed by the independent Tasmanian Planning Commission, including members of the Commission, representatives, delegates of the relevant local council, and appointed independent expert members of that group, all appointed by the Independent Planning Commission and working under the same codes of practice that it is bound by, Madam Speaker. And here's the answer.
Why does no one believe you?
It's because the Greens will take a protest over a process any day of the week. The Greens are not interested in independent scrutiny under planning laws that have been created by elected state and local governments using consultation processes and put in place to protect the broader public's interests. What they want to protect is the opportunity to stop and frustrate to death individual projects that they've decided that they don't like, Madam Speaker. They want the ability to parachute in professional protesters to bully and cajole local elected councils who are struggling to make decisions about very large, complex projects that have implications beyond their boundaries, Madam Speaker. I fully expect, Madam Speaker, that when this major projects legislation is up, when it gets up and it's available to Tasmania to use, there will be local councils who find that they've got a project in front of them which they know is significant and complex, that they're going to have a lot of information to work through, that there is going to be interest in from beyond their council boundaries, and that there are going to be strong feelings about from within their council boundaries, Madam Speaker. And I reckon that there will be councils then who bring forward those projects and say to the government, we would like this to to be considered through the major projects process so that we can represent the views of our community in the process, not as a local planning authority bound only to make decisions based on the planning scheme in front of them and the planning process laid out, but to be able to advocate for the voices of their community and ensure that they're heard. And they don't want to be sitting there in their local council chambers with fly-in professional protesters and police outside raising a rabble, getting the television cameras and putting those poor local government representatives under unseemly pressure when they're just trying to do the job that they're elected to do, Madam Speaker. This major project process allows a local council, it allows a proponent of a project, it allows the minister to put forward a project that is large and complex and significant to be assessed as to whether it warrants going through this major project process. I, as Minister, in making that decision, must take advice from the Tasmanian Planning Commission, the local government in the relevant area, Madam Speaker, and I must publish and explain my decision for allowing a project to enter that process, at which point my involvement ceases.
You've done
None
a
at all.
fantastic job.
From there, the Tasmanian Planning Commission, who sometimes the Greens want me to refer stuff to because they don't like the way a council's going with it, Cambria Green, but sometimes, right now, they infer that it's wrapped up in some conspiracy for the White Shoe Brigade. They don't trust anybody, Madam Speaker. They have no interest in proper process. All they want to do is preserve their opportunity to frustrate the hell out of good process.
Minister, I have a point of order.
Look, the minister is being hysterical and long-winded, and he should just remain calm. I mean, this is not about us. This is about legislation which is alienating people all over the island.
Well, that's very kind that you recommend he stay calm. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll